Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and in today's video, what the hell, we're going to do a live stream and we're going to cover some charts. Just thought of this one on the fly today. I was just feeling it. Maybe it was because I did the happy hour on Tuesday, and I'm used to doing some of these live streams later in the week on a Wednesday or Thursday. But yeah, I just felt this need to just kind of get out there and speak to a few charts. You know, thankfully, we're getting into the time of the year. So it is October 6th, 2022. So we're getting into the time of the year. We're in the fall season here in South Florida, and the temperatures are starting to really cool off, which feels great because you know, I have a back patio, and because of the lawn service, there were leaves and shit all over it. So the other day I went out there, swept it all off, and cleared things off. I'll probably have dinner out there this evening. Just because it's getting to that point where it's getting cool enough that you can actually be outside in the evenings and you're not sweating your balls off. So it's nice. So it's really, really nice. So I'm going to cook up the other part of the extremely large piece of salmon that I got from Sam's the other day. I didn't realize I Instacarted a Sam's order, and I guess I just didn't put enough thought into how big that piece of salmon would be. So yesterday I cooked up maybe like a third of it, and I was like, all right, well, I can slice this thing up over 3 nights, but I was like, fuck it. You know, there's like a huge, I want to say like a pound of salmon that I have sitting out right now that I'm just gonna marinate and grill up and be done with it tonight. So for anyone tuning in, thank you. Appreciate if you could hit the thumbs up button, drop a comment, let me know who you are. Introduce yourself to everybody. No, I'm happy to hear you, but happy to have you here. But if you do have any questions on any charts, I'm just going to go through a few charts that I felt would be important to hit on. I'm also going to make sure to provide commentary in the key charts that I tweeted about. If you're not following me on Twitter, you know, one of the things I said is I do plan to speak to a few key charts, leaving me feeling confident we're heating up in crypto. So I'll make sure to kind of point those out. They're mainly in the Bitcoin chart. Those are the ones I'm going to be speaking to. But I have several other charts. I'm just going to kind of go through and throw out some commentary in terms of what I'm seeing. Some of them I've spoken to before. Some of them I have not spoken to before. And some of them I haven't spoken to in a long time. So let's get into it. I do not see any likes whatsoever, and I see people tuning in. So appreciate the support if you could help me out there. Now, the first chart that I did want to comment on is this 12-hour chart. If you've been here for a long time, you know the significance of the 12-hour chart. There's 2 moving averages here that we focus on. There's a 50 in purple, and there is a 200 in pink. What we need to see is a golden cross, okay? To feel convicted that bullish momentum is going to continue to feel convicted that bullish momentum will pick up in the market and will be sustained, what we ultimately need to see is price action get above the 200 and this is really important, and I don't want anyone to miss this. It's not just about the 50 curling up and creating a golden cross here, okay? It's about the 200 flattening out. It needs to be flat and begin to curl up. You can't have the 200 curling down and get a golden cross. That does not that's not what you want to see and what you would truly call a golden cross. For a golden cross to truly be a golden cross and to feel bullish about it, you need the 200 to flatten out and begin to curl up, right? So what I like to see in the price action right now, there's a couple things that I like to see in the price action, and then I also want to explain what I'm seeing in the 50 SMA, and I want to explain why this is curling down at the moment. What I like to see is that price has gotten above and stayed above the 50. I've tweeted about this. I've spoken about this. This is a good first step. This is what we want to see. We can see consolidation in here. We shouldn't expect, nor would we want to see, a straight line up like that, a parabolic movement, because that's not sustainable. It's just going to crash down, okay? So it's good to see from a bullish structure perspective that what's happening right now is price is getting out of this range. I did not like us hanging out down here. I did not like us continually hitting this area of support because I knew, and just from a technical basis, that the more times we continue to hit this level around 18,700 or 18,800, eventually it's just going to break and give way, right? So it's good to see us up here, and it's good to see us back up above the 50 SMA. We're right in between the 250. That's exactly what I wanted to see as step one. I have it laid out right here. If you're not following me on Twitter, this is something I tweet out regularly. We're in step one right now, okay? Step two is getting above the 200, all right? But now you'll see that right now the 50 is curling down. So why is that actually going on, okay? We have price action above the 50 SMA, but yet the 50 SMA is starting to curl down. Well, ask yourself, what is the SMA? It's a simple moving average, right? So it accounts for the prior 50 candlesticks worth of price action, and it just plots a point here as an average data point, right? So what's happening is, if we look in time here, what's happening is all this price action is falling off of this moving average calculation, and we're getting more of this stuff, okay? That's weighted more heavily into how this line is being calculated. So because of that, okay, that's why we're seeing a little dip down here. But the more we consolidate in this area, we're going to have higher price levels. And if we have higher price levels, what's going to happen is this is going to begin to curl up, which is what we want. So I did want to make sure to explain that. But really, it's pretty simplistic. What you want to look for on this 12-hour chart are three steps, okay? And I've laid these out before. So it's good that we've completed step one for the moment. We've stayed above here. And I should say, I should actually clarify, we haven't completed step one. We're in the process of validating step one. That's a better way to put it. We've completed step one once we can validate that we've entered step two. So step one, we're in the process of printing right now. And it's good to see, once again, price action is remaining in between these two moving averages. Step two is to get above the purple 200 SMA, and then step three is to get the golden cross with both lines curling up eventually, okay? Now, there's a lot of historical significance to this that I've gone through in past videos that I'm not going to hammer home on, but at least I can do a quick refresher. The reason this is so imperative is because when there's a lot of historical context in the chart here, right? We have limited price data with Bitcoin because there's only 12 years, I think 12 and a half years worth of price action. But the nice thing about a 12-hour time frame, even though it's on a smaller time frame, so because it's a smaller time frame, it expresses higher volatility, it still provides a decent measuring stick based on how many years of data we have, right? It's half of one day, okay? And there's a lot of historical significance when you actually go back in time and look at when price action has had decisive closes below the 200 SMA. And then furthermore, when you have death crosses and golden crosses, okay? You can see for the moment, once we got a candle body close here, okay, measuring all the way to this time period, this was a fake out. This does not count. The 200 was not, we got what you might want to consider a golden cross here, but it wasn't a true golden cross because the 200 never started to flatten out and curl up. It was always going down. So this was a temporary blip on the radar. But we've been under here for 307 days. So from a historical context, once we get a break and we see these death crosses, you can see I've laid out the time periods historically we've been under here. You can see 50 days, 131 days. Back here in 2018, it was 398 days. And back here in 2015, 14, you can see we pretty much matched where we're at right now. Now, the golden crosses are significant. And why the golden crosses on the 12-hour are significant is when we truly get price action, get above the 200 SMA, and both the 50 and 200 start to curl up, and we get that golden cross. Now, this was a fake out back here in 14, but you can see, I want you to just zoom out here for a moment. Once we got our golden cross right here, a little bit of volatility here. You have to keep in mind the asset was a lot smaller back in 15. A little bit of volatility here. But you can see, once we got our first true golden cross right here, it was a straight line up from 200 bucks to $20,000, okay? And if we go back to 2019, what we can see is when we got our golden cross here, and you can see the 200 start to curl up, we went straight from 3,000. People forget this. We went straight from 3,000 all the way up to nearly $14,000 in a matter of like 4 months. Okay, so we did nearly a 5x and, you know, nearly a 5x in Bitcoin price in like 4 to 5 months, which is crazy to think about, like 4 months. Here's a golden cross here again. Again, we had the beer virus, you know, had a bit of choppiness and volatility. This was a V-shaped recovery, but you can see extending it throughout the period here. Here we got close to having a cross, but we rode the line. Once we got our golden cross here and things flattened out and began to increase, we went from approximately $8,500, a straight shot up to $64,000 in the spring of 2021. I'm sure most of you were here for that. I remember that euphoric period. So what I'm trying to share with you is there is a lot of historical significance in these golden crosses, and that's really the first step that I'm looking for. Once these 3 steps are completed, okay, on the 12-hour chart, as I have always said on this video, what happens is on the smaller time frames, when you get that bullish momentum picking up, on the smaller time frames, on a more granular micro level, that begins to bleed over into the higher time frames, okay? Now, step 2, if you watch my my video that speaks to the 3 steps to feel convicted that the bull market is back, and I actually reversed the order of this and commented on the video as such. But really, the next step would actually be to look at the 10-day chart. And what you'll notice on the 10-day chart, and this is a 10-day chart with a 150 simple moving average, okay? What you'll notice on the 10-day chart is every time we got below and then got back above the 150 simple moving average, it resulted in massive appreciation in price. We were below, back above, massive appreciation in price. Below, back above, mass appreciation in price. So we're below it right now. Once we get this checked off for the 12-hour chart, the next chart I need you guys to take a look at is this 10-day chart with a 150 simple moving average. Once we can get above this line, we're going to go to our last chart to feel convicted that we truly are. Wow, wind's kicking up for some reason. What's going on here? Oh, I see. Okay. You know what? This is going to be a little, give me 1 second here. All right, I don't know how much of that you heard, but that was CBG really pissed off. So, okay, so I opened up this live stream. All right. So I opened up this live stream saying that I was going to have dinner out on my patio and I just cleaned it off. There's shooting mulch all over the place out here, and it got all over the patio. Like, I can't even explain to you what my patio looks like right now and how clean it was yesterday. So I'm a little livid right now. I'm a little pissed off. So it's going to take me a minute to calm down. It's going to take me a minute to calm down. That shit just happened. And I am going out in 30 minutes to check on the status if you heard me yell about that. I'm going out in 30 minutes to make sure that things are cleared off or shit is going to get real. So let's get back to the charts. I didn't waste 40 minutes of my time yesterday cleaning that thing off for nothing. Oh, man. You know, it's just like consideration for others, you know? Like, somebody is shooting mulch out there, just shooting the shit all around. Like, no thought to I'm just going to continue reading the charts. So this is the 10-day chart. So step 2 is getting above the 150 simple moving average. The other thing I wanted to point out here, not only the cross is up, but the other thing that I wanted you to keep in mind is when we've had the MACD curl up, right? When we get a positive cross on the MACD and it turns from red to green, I've made those circles here. You can see they have resulted, like this one resulted in the massive increase in price. We had a temporary cross here. Again, we had a little bit of volatility in here. But when we got the cross right here, when we got this cross here, that was this price action getting back above, and we had mass movement up. We're starting to see a potential cross here, okay? So it wouldn't surprise me in the coming several weeks to start pushing up against this 150 simple moving average, which is at 26,000, okay? All right, so let's get into the last step here, which is the 150 simple moving average on the 3-day chart. Now, right now, things are not looking favorable, right? Things are not looking favorable right now. We're significantly below the 150 simple moving average. All right, well, as we can see, once we've gotten below and we reclaim above the 150 simple moving average, mass appreciation, mass appreciation, mass appreciation in price, right? We're well below it right now. I kind of sketched out here the RSI, what I would anticipate moving forward. So you can see here that we've negated this downward resistance on the RSI, and I've kind of sketched out what I would expect to see on the RSI, what wouldn't surprise me. You can see it's sort of playing out that way, right? The crux of what I was trying to say is once we negate the downward resistance on the RSI, we would backtest this level and bounce up. You can see that's exactly what's going on. We've broken up definitively here, backtested, and have since begun moving up. So that's positive to see. That is positive to see. But again, remember, this is your third and final step. In chronological order, what you want to do is you need this thing to turn bullish, okay? And you need to check off the 3 boxes in the 12-hour chart. You need to jump to the 10-day and see what's going on with the 150 simple moving average. Once we get above here with the candle body close, go over to the 3-day. Go over to the 3-day and use the same exact moving average, which is the 150, okay? And you need to ensure that you see candle body closes above the 150 simple moving average to feel convicted that you can check off this box. Once you have all 3 boxes checked for all 3 charts, you're good to go. All right, so the other thing I wanted to comment on here was the monthly chart. Man, no one's dropped a comment yet. I must not have my regulars in. So one thing I wanted to comment on within the monthly chart is not only, this is on a 2-week. I meant to put this on a monthly. Well, actually, the 2-week does display the fact that we're just chopping around here and consolidating. But really, we've broken out of this falling wedge. And what I'm starting to see also is the MACD's beginning to try to flatten out here. If we have a positive month for the month of October and this candlestick is bullish, let's say we close around like, I don't know, let's be super optimistic. Let's say we have a bullish engulfing candle and we close above the wick of this candlestick. Let's say we close up at like, I don't know, 23,000, 23,500. So that'd be like 15% higher than where we're at. So let's say we close up here. This thing's going to flatten out and want to curl up, which is very good to see. This is actually a good transition into the next item that I wanted to take a look at with you guys, which is a historical context on monthly returns for Bitcoin and what months just historically have been good months and bad months. So something I tweeted out today is from a historical perspective, the fourth quarter is lining up to be a potential solid quarter for Bitcoin. Okay, you can see 2018 is the outlier period where October, November, and December were very bad months for Bitcoin. But outside of 2018, you can see that in general, October tends to be a very favorable month. November, most periods are very favorable. And for December, most periods are very favorable for Bitcoin. So if we can get the odds to work in our favor, especially given the fact that we've been in, at this point, how long has our correction been? If you do believe this is an expanding flat correction, and we've been in a correction since our top at 64, we've been in a correction for well over a year. I mean, this has been in a correction now for a year and a half. So if that is your train of thought, I mean, you know, the hope, I hate to use the word hope, because hope to me signals to me that I'm stating something that isn't founded based on education, and that's not what's going on here. I mean, I'm showing you factual information in the charts, but one would hope that given all the downside that we have seen this year and the the mass amount of fear that's been out there, that the odds do work in our favor. October, November, and December do turn out to be really great months. So we'll have to see how it turns out. But from a historical perspective, things do look in our favor for the fourth quarter to really turn around in a positive way. So let's take a look at a few more charts that I have here. And by the way, if there's any questions that anyone has and you want to drop a comment, that's always welcome. I'm here to chart out anything that you would like in the crypto space. Now, what I like to see with Ethereum is not only have we negated some of this downward RSI on the weekly chart, this is the weekly view, but if you focus on price action, this week is trying to push above this massive resistance around 13 to 1400, okay? Really would love to see this week for Ethereum clear above resistance, right? Would really like to see the week get up to around 1430. If we can close around 1430, that would be great. Even better would be slightly above 1430. But right around 1430 would be great. So we'll have to see how the week closes out for Ethereum. Now, for those who joined the Bitcoin Crypto Happy Hour a couple days ago, and I actually just tweeted out something today speaking to this again. The Flare airdrop is supposedly taking place at the end of October and early November, and I pointed out the fact in terms of why XRP's bullish price action is good for anyone receiving the Flare airdrop. So what's good to see right now is we do have a potential bull flag playing out. That's really what's going on here. You can see the pennant. Once we started to move up here, okay, that's how I would draw the pennant. So, we have this massive wick here, which I don't think that I personally would count. So really the technical target, the way I would draw it, let's see what I actually have here, just because I think I just decided to pick a midpoint. Yeah, so a technical target is closer to above 70 cents, but I have this thing drawn to sort of the mid-range in here. This is really bullish for us, okay? If you're an XRP holder, or you are going to be getting the initial 15% Flare airdrop, I'm telling you, if this bull flag pennant does work out, and we begin to see price action break up here in between 57 and 77 cents, your Flare air token on the day of airdrop, there's going to be a lot of hype around it. There's going to be a lot of people pushing up the price. It's going to come out at an initial value that's much greater than XRP's value. So just something to watch for. Now, the S&P is something I wanted to quickly touch on. Not surprising to see a bounce here. It follows the commentary that I shared during the Bitcoin Crypto Weekly close. Whether this is a true kiss of death and we see massive downside in the S&P from here, or whether this is going to be a fake out. There's been plenty of fake outs I've spoken to. We went through this on last week. I'm not going to rehash it. But either way, it's not atypical to see a bounce at this point. It's just not atypical to see a bounce. But ultimately what we want to see, okay, on the S&P, and again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because whatever's happening in the stock market is going to be a reflection of what's going on in crypto. These things are tied together. If the stock market, I've said this so many different times, maybe someday this is not the case, but right now this is the case, okay? If the stock market is not doing well, risk on assets like crypto are not going to do well, and they're going to do even worse than a lot of stocks out there. However, in the event that the stock market begins to appreciate in value and we have a serious rebound, crypto is going to far outpace stocks in general, just because of how small the market cap is. Well, technically, is it a happy hour? You did miss the happy hour. Thank you for the question, Kayleen. You did miss the happy hour on Tuesday. I had it on Tuesday instead of having it on a Wednesday or Thursday, but I am having myself a glass of Malbec this evening. So I got some Malbec from, actually, of all places, I got a Malbec from Costco. It's Kirkland brand, but it's rated like a 92, so it's superb value for red wine. So that is what I'm having. So even though this isn't advertised as a happy hour, feel free to bring up a drink because I am. So are you having a drink this evening? So anyway, whether this is a dead cat bounce or whether this is truly the beginning of a turnaround within the S&P, the first thing we need to do We need to break the 21 EMA, exponential moving average. But really the key is at the end of the day, you need to negate this red line here. We need to take out this price wick, which is at 43.25, okay? Holly, welcome in. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a bit. Good to see you. No need to apologize. Everybody can join when they can. I started this live stream extremely early at 5:15 just because I could. So got a decent amount of flexibility. So we do what we do. So anyway, that's what we want to look for in the S&P. So check that out on the S&P. What else we got here? Whoa, don't want to show that. I don't even know what that was, but don't want to show personal things on my computer. Okay, so there are several charts here, as you can see, that I'm going to go through. But make sure in the live stream chat to let me know if you have any questions on any charts. Also, Kayleen had asked if this is a happy hour. This wasn't advertised as a happy hour. I had the Bitcoin Crypto happy hour on Tuesday, but feel free, if you are joining me and having a drink, feel free to share what you're having. I'm having a Malbec this evening, or this afternoon. I don't know. It's 5 o'clock, so here's a debatable question. Well, actually, okay, so it's almost 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is evening. Would you guys consider 5 p.m. afternoon or evening? I consider 5 p.m. evening. The cutoff for me is 5 p.m. 4 p.m. is afternoon, 4:30 afternoon. Once we get to 5 p.m., it's evening time. That's my opinion. But I have heard other people say, no, that's late afternoon, like 6 o'clock is like evening. No, I think 5 o'clock. I think 5 o'clock's a cutoff. So, I don't know. So, I wanted to share this chart real quick. So, as you know, I am a Harmonaut, and I'm a big investor in Harmony One. And what we're seeing here, this is thank you for that validation. This is a 12-hour chart. And I don't know why this is drawn like this, to be honest. This line must have gotten screwed up. Okay. Right there. So basically what's happening right now is that one is coiling up. And I'm just speaking to the fact that it could potentially be, you see this right here? It doesn't have to be perfect, but you see how this is potentially a rounding bottom, okay? So really what we need to see, okay, just like with any other crypto we take a look at, there's more volatility in the smaller ones, but we need to start to see some bullish momentum kick up in the smaller time frames to feel convicted that the higher time frames are going to see the same sort of bullish momentum, right? So this is the 12-hour. We need price to begin to move above the 200 SMA and stay above it. That's going to help to create our golden cross where the 50 comes above the 200 SMA. What I'm pointing out here is that I am fully anticipating and it's coiling up. You can see there's an ascending line of support I have here and a descending line of resistance. So price is sort of coiling up in here, right? Something's going to happen. I mean, we could just continue going sideways, but eventually we're going to break up or break down. I mean, it's one or the other, okay? And that's going to happen relatively soon. But what I'm trying to show here, and especially given the market cap size of Harmony One has the potential to, in a single week, if this is a true rounding bottom, to double in price. And I'm not, look, again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you that Harmony One is going to double in a week. That's not what I just said. What I did say is it has the potential to double in a single week if this is a rounding bottom. So what I'm saying is this thing very likely could get back up, and I'd like to see it get back up here relatively soon. But it has the potential to very quickly get up in this 4 cent to 5.4 cent range. If we zoom out on a higher time frame chart, let's take a look at a 3-day. Let's take off the moving averages. You can see how much it's come down in value, and you can see all these lines of resistance that we need to get above, okay? We were flying high up here, and it feels like we've been in hell down here with the rest of the market, right? But this isn't any different from any of the other crypto assets, okay? The extent to which it's corrected, okay? This thing can catch up very quickly. And as I've said before, nothing has changed for me. Once we start to get above and stay above 9.4 cents, that's when I'm going to get extremely bullish about price turning around and beginning to make an effort to get back up to 40 cents and create new all-time highs. We need to get all the way back up above 9.4 cents for me personally. So keep an eye on the 12-hour. This is a smaller play. I told you guys that I put a small amount in. of my portfolio that I'm keeping an eye on, obviously because I'm invested in it too, but this is ticker symbol. Wow, that's really weird. If you're drinking water that is flavored in lime, not a good idea, and then you're having a wine. That's not, not doing that. This is ticker symbol SYN. You can see we have some ascending lines of resistance I've drawn here, a couple bands of support, and an area of resistance. Now, what I could see potentially playing out here, we'll have to see if this plays true or not, a potential ascending triangle, which if that's the case, if that plays out, we can draw a technical target from here all the way up to here. That's how you draw the target. And then wherever it breaks out, I mean, that puts us up towards like $8, okay? Not saying it's hitting $8 tomorrow or ever. It could go to zero like with the rest of the market. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just drawing a technical target for everybody. But basically what's going on here, what I'd like to see is this thing is just consolidating with the rest of the market, right? This is good to see. And I really like that this band of support is holding right in between $1.13 and $1.05. I really want to see this 113 to 105 hold, okay? Check out this project on a chart when you have a moment. Casper. So in particular, I would like to thank Nick at Ncash. I definitely got in at the opportune time before we made a big move up. And I've shared this on the live stream before. We've taken a look at this chart in particular. Let's forget about all the other price. Well, the MACD is about to go positive, which is great. But let's just look at the RSI. So what I was sharing with you guys when we've taken a look at this rising RSI. You see how the RSI is rising in value, and yet price is just doing this? It's called bullish divergence on the RSI. It does not have to necessitate a move up in price, but it's a leading indicator that we might see a move up in price appreciation, right? And that's exactly what happened. Look at this break here. We broke up. We were stuck at 2.9 cents forever. And we just broke up from 2.9 cents all the way up to 3.7. Okay, we've had a massive move today. How much is this thing up today? Jesus Christ, 23. This thing is up 24% today. Okay, so if you got in here, if you were fortunate, thankfully I got in this literally just a couple days ago. So if you were fortunate enough to get in here, I mean, you literally just made 25% overnight. Now, is it very possible and very likely that we are going to have a correction? We're going to backtest this as support, which would be bullish. Okay, this area in here around like 3 cents. Could we come down like 20% and then continue up? Yeah, and it would be very bullish. Again, these are very volatile assets. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this thing sort of stagnate for a little bit, retest this as support, and then continue to come up. And the next area I have, if you guys are invested here, the next area that I would look for is the 5.6 to 5 cent area. That's the next area that I would look for. By the way, it appears that no one is joining me for a drink this evening, so I am drinking alone. It's all right. Play a little violin for myself. Play a little violin for me. I'm used to that. All right. Oh, feel bad for ZBG. Hey, by the way, I do have some good news. I am going to, for the first time in a while, I'm excited. I'm going to be playing golf on Sunday. I have not golfed forever. So I'm going to be golfing on Sunday, and it's kind of good that I'm getting in a little bit of a golf session this week because with the elbow surgery coming up that I mentioned a couple days ago, I'm going to be out of commission for probably golfing for a good 6 weeks. So good to get some golf in now. Maybe I could get some golf in for the next not 4 weekends. Maybe I can get golf in for the next 3 weekends and enjoy that for a bit. But that's something exciting I have going on. So I have that going on Sunday, and I'll be doing that before the live stream. I will be here for the Bitcoin Crypto weekly live stream as always on Sunday, but I have that going on. This is another one that I got into, and I actually increased my stake in this. That wasn't pun intended. I don't even think you can't stake this project, but no pun intended there. So I'm not staking this, but I increased my position. But this is ticker symbol INJ. You can see where the resistance here. We're sort of coiling up. I'm expecting I'm expecting appreciation, large appreciation in the crypto market over the coming fourth quarter here, October, November, December. And as such, as that continues, I expect a move up here into this $3.80 range. Excuse me, $3.60. We'll call it $3.60 to $4 range. Okay, 360 to 4. Now we do have an area of resistance here that we need to account for, descending line of resistance. It also looks like that we could face, I mean, you can draw this line a couple different ways, but we could also, let me get this out of here, excuse me. We could also face some resistance coming up here in like the $2 range that I alluded to on Twitter. But for the time being, this thing looks great. I mean, it's just coiling up in my opinion. It's preparing for a much larger move. Like I said, I personally increased my position in this because the trade setup looks great. You're currently on a diet. I have news for you. So you're on a diet. Let me share something for anybody who's in the same camp as Kayleen and says she's on a diet. I respect that. And, you know, I'm not sure, you know, what you got going on and what's going on. But I'm sure that first off, everything, you look great and you have nothing to worry about. But on top of that, wine is actually a health food. And let me explain why. Would you not agree that grapes provide antioxidants? Okay, they help to fight cancer. Okay, this is a cancer-fighting product. So if you're drinking wine, you're drinking grapes, you're drinking antioxidants, you're helping to prevent cancer. Cheers. Pour yourself a glass of wine. Don't tell me you're on a diet. Come on now. Now, this is Porto. This is a sports fan token that I've spoken to before. I also have a small position in this. A lot of the tokens, which you guys have to understand, not all. Now, I do want to clarify. Not every single thing that I chart out here do I hold a personal position in. That's not the case. But I would say most things, I think it's fair to say, most projects that I do chart out, I do hold a position in. So why would that be the case? Am I trying to show you my project? No, I'm not trying to show you jack shit. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to share information contained within a chart that I find valuable and which I personally have invested a tiny bit in, or maybe a small swing trade position, right? Or a large position. But that's only natural that you're going to share a lot of stuff that you're personally invested in. But there are charts I'm invested in that I don't tweet about regularly. There are a lot of charts I tweet about that I'm not in. So, but in this case, you know, I do hold a small position here. And what I'm showing here is it's a technical pattern. And it's actually very indicative of a bull pennant. So you can see here's the flagpole and the pennant. Typical within a bull flag, what you see is within the pennant. Do you see this pennant being created right here? See the straight line up, okay? Look at the volume down here. See this huge green Jesus volume candle, right? That's indicative of the move up. That's what we want to see. Look what happens to the volume. This is just such, and I'm not saying this will play out, but I'm saying this is like a perfect bull pennant setup. I've looked at so many of these things over the course of the past 6.5 years, okay? Again, these things do not need to play out. I'm just saying this is a textbook bull pennant, okay? So whether it plays out, it plays out. Whether it doesn't, it doesn't. But this is textbook. You have price, you have a large volume spike and price move up, and then you have this coiling action. And look at the volume. It's decreasing. God, this is so textbook. So the technical target I've drawn from here to here, depending on the breakout, right? What do I mean depending on the breakout? What I mean is we can move this arrow. If the breakout occurs here, we move the arrow here, right? Actually, I could draw this probably a little better, but draw like that. Draw like that. All right, so depending when the breakout occurs, if it occurred here, we draw it like that. If it occurred here, we draw it like that. It looks like it's going to extend out a little bit further, so I'll draw it right about, I don't know, like the end of October. That would bring the target all the way down to here. So you're still looking at about $14, $15, right? So keep an eye on ticker symbol PORTO. You can find Porto on Binance US. Now here's another one that made a huge move today. I mean, this thing was up well over 30% today. Very volatile asset, smaller market cap. Again, this is something I have a small position in. For me to feel convicted that, first off, let's just take a look at a higher time frame. It doesn't have a lot of price data here, so I'm not going to go much higher than a 1-day time frame. By the way, this is a really good mallback. If you want a good mallback, go to Costco, save yourself some money, and get Kirkland name brand. They have really good wines. That is actually a really good mallback. To feel convicted that price is really turning around, I need to get above this band of resistance. It did hold support temporarily here, and then once we broke below, we couldn't get above it. Okay? Couldn't get above it. So for me to feel convicted that the trend is truly turning around in ticker symbol REEF, REEF, and again, this is a layer 1 solution. You can find this thing on Binance US once again. More and more, I'm turning to Binance US over Coinbase, personally, Coinbase Pro. And they've changed it. What is it? It's not Coinbase Pro anymore. They're going to Coinbase like advanced trading or something like that. We need to get above the 1.3 to 1.2 cent area. So we have quite a ways to go. But as you can see here, the thing that I do want to, look at all these price wicks. I mean, this is the definition of volatility within crypto, right? A lot of different price wicks going on. But at the crux of what I'm showing here, again, we have a potential bull pennant playing out here. We have a massive spike up, massive volume. We have declining volume, okay? Once we're coiling up in here, we're coiling up, okay? And if we take a textbook measurement of this, we could wick as high as, depending when the breakout occurs, okay? It's more important with the candle bodies, but we could wick as high as close to 1 cent. So, and this is one of these things, because the market cap is so small in this thing, this is one that can really move real fast. I would keep an eye on ticker symbol REEF. Sandbox is another one that, full disclosure, I'm not currently invested in, but similar to Mana, Decentraland, this thing has, with the rest of the metaverse plays, this thing has corrected substantially in value. Look at this move up. I mean, this thing was sitting at 4 cents and went all the way up to $8. Imagine investing in this thing at 4 cents and selling it at like $7. Let me give you a hypothetical on that. Let's say you threw like $1,000 in, right? Let's say you threw $1,000 into Sandbox, all right, at 4 cents. And you rode that thing to $7 and you're like, I'm out. Okay, that's a 175x return. Let's multiply that times 1,000 for those that aren't good with math. You now have $175,000. I did not misspeak. Yes, your $1,000 from down here turned into $175,000 up here. That's what happens when you pick a huge winner. This is one of the biggest winners since this time period back here in 2021 at the start of the year. Okay, so this thing has been consolidating. Once again, bad choice to drink lime water with wine. This thing has been consolidating now in a range that we have not seen since, fall, late summer of 2021. This is, in my opinion, an awesome buying opportunity, not financial advice, in Sandbox if you don't have a position. I put additional funds into the crypto market this week, scaling into a few different projects, including Casper, which I mentioned earlier, including Reef, including an additional position in Injectable, ticker symbol INJ, which is what we just spoke to. So I don't have the funds to put into sand right now, but I do at some point begin to plan to initiate a position in either Binance or Coinbase. You can find it on either. Gala is one that could finally may have found a bottom. Now, this is one full disclosure. I was scaling in at 5 cents, right? So I'm already down like 20% on my position. Being down 20% in a position is sort of par for the course in crypto, right? Not a big deal if you're down 20% in your position. You could be down a lot more. You could go from Lambos to Geo Metros like I did from last year to this year, all right? I did not sell a single position. So my joke was this year that, look, I went from literally having a fleet of Lambos, okay? Literally having a fleet of Lambos to a fleet of Geo Metros, okay? Pre-owned 1991 Geo Metros, all right? All right, that's crypto. So, all kidding aside now. Gala looks like it might finally has maybe bottomed out. Now, the reason I say that is twofold. One, you have this bullish divergence on the RSI. You have RSI, the relative strength index, increasing in value. Look at price. It's been going down. Okay, that's bullish divergence. What else is going on leaving me feeling like it might have bottomed? Which is sort of stagnating here. There's a lot of projects that are just stagnating in a specific price range. We'll take a look at Loopring, LRC. That's one I established a position in, actually in my retirement account, I believe, because I have personal funds invested in crypto, and then I have a Bitcoin IRA investment in crypto, or funds invested in crypto, and I established a position. I did a swap today for some LRC, but we'll get into that. So we're just consolidating here. So we're going to face major resistance though, right? We broke support. We're going to face major resistance between 5 and 4 cents. We need to get back above 5. Once we get back above 5 cents in Gala, then we can talk about taking out some of this resistance here. But it has a long way to go. I mean, this high, when this thing was brought into the market in 2021, look at the high here. We were all the way up at close to 90 cents and we're down at 4 cents. Par for the course for crypto. Sushi looks like it might want to start to have a turnaround. If there was ever a horrible call by myself, this might have been the worst. And again, any investor, any trader who is authentic with you, anyone out there providing value to the space, they're going to have really good calls if they have any value in the space. They're going to have really good calls, and then they're going to have really bad calls, right? I was bullish on sushi up here. We fell all the way up here. So we fell from this like $10 to $6 range down to $1. You know, you could not get a call more wrong, I don't think, than that. Unless you were in Luna, then I guess you could get a call wrong, but I was never in that. So, but what's happening right now on a daily, 3-day view, is we're facing resistance at the 50 SMA. We haven't been able to crack at that. Look, anytime we've gotten up to the 50 SMA, we've gotten temporarily above it and broke below it, temporarily and broke it, touched it and broke it. We're challenging it right now, but there's major resistance. So if you're in sushi, I do have a small position in sushi. I'm still holding. But there's going to be major resistance right around, I have it drawn, between $1.60 and $1. We're going to call it $1.60 to $1.70. What I want to see to feel convicted that things are turning around, let's get up into this area. What that also does is not only are we taking out major resistance, and the $1.69, been a long time. 69 goes, sorry, it's a 15-year-old kid in me. I can't say that with a straight face, no. 69 actually goes way back. The $1.69 goes way back to some historical resistance back here. But the $1.60 I have drawn is more so here, right? So what we're doing is, this is twofold, okay? It's twofold. Once we get up to $1.70, not only are we negating resistance here, but we're also negating the lower highs, right? I want you to see what I mean by this. What I mean, wow, that is not what I expected to happen. Then again, that happens with TradingView. It'll happen. Look at what this is. A high, a lower high, and a lower high. So once we get up in this area, we've negated this lower high. We've begun to do a low, a high, and we have a low and a high. Now we can print a higher low and a higher high and continue forth. So, let's get back above $1.70 for sushi. That's what to watch for. 3 more charts, and then I'm going to take questions. And if anyone else is having some health food, I would appreciate knowing if you're having any cancer defending products via grapes with wine, because that is the name of the game. I'm going to make a bet with everyone here, and I will tweet it out. I am willing to bet my entire cryptocurrency balances, my investments, all of them. I'm willing to bet my entire everything. In fact, I'm willing to bet my net worth that when I go out to that patio, nothing's going to be cleared off. And well, no, let me clarify that. I'm willing to bet that if there was an attempt to clear it off, it will be half-ass. Because I want to make this point. My patio was crystal clean last night. Or yesterday afternoon I cleared it off. Crystal clean. And I'm willing to bet when I go out there, one of those jackasses made a half-ass attempt to clean it off. And I will tell you this. If I'm correct, the next time they're out here, Oh, I work from home. I will find them, and I know the guy I spoke to. I will find him, and I will chew his ass out. I will chew it out really badly. Really badly. Because I spent a lot of time yesterday cleaning off that patio. This is what I'm thinking about right now. I don't hear the mulch people out here. I don't hear them, but I will be out there very soon. We're ending this live stream very soon because I'm gonna go out and take a look, and I'm sure I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised with a fucking mess on my patio. This is Matic on the weekly. Okay, this is Matic. Now, as you can see, very bullish. We've cleared the resistance, right? What have we done? A low and a high. Let's, Matic, it's the same thing for Quant, right? For Quant, we want to break that $1.42. Wow. We want to break that $142 area for Quant. We want to break $1.05 for Matic, right? Let's get above here and let's get in this zone. Let's start to challenge $1.74. That's what we need to do. So Matic is looking very healthy. All we're doing is consolidating. And in fact, if you're looking to get in Matic, this is, in my opinion, a prime opportunity to get in. It's a prime opportunity. All we're literally doing is consolidating, waiting for a move up to break 105. The next time, I will tell you this, the next time you see Matic up around $1.05, it's my full expectation we're going to break it and break it with volume, okay? You start seeing it at $1.02, $1.03, $1.04, that shit is going to break and you're going to see it at $1.20 in no time, my opinion. Now, Matic is one of those where I had tweeted out a while ago, I've established a position where every week, I'm not going to share dollar amounts, but every week I'm putting in an investment into Matic and staking it. That's what I'm doing. And I'm planning, similar to Bitcoin, holding this for a very long time. Bitcoin, I have gone on record saying, and to this date, I followed through on it, and I'm going to follow through on the next how many years, I view it as a partial retirement account. Every single day, I'm making a purchase on Bitcoin. I'm literally holding it, putting it on my ledger, and just putting it away for a very long time. So for me, another investment vehicle is to buy certain projects and literally just forget about it. I have all this TA knowledge and I can read charts and I can tell you when might make the most sense to get in and when might make the most sense to sell. But at the end of the day, what I also recognize is the value in just buying an asset every single day, no matter what the price is, given the long-term trajectory and historical appreciation in that asset's value. And in the long term, that's going to pay off, in my opinion. So that's what I'm doing. Two more charts, and I'm opening it up to questions. Ren is one that I've pointed as in a falling wedge. This is another one I have a position in. We have, let's turn this green. Now, we have, for the moment, turned a critical level, which is around 12.8 cents, into support, as you can see. 12.7 cents. We also have an area of resistance right here we need to break above, but the technical target on this falling wedge is a breakout to 17 cents. Again, this is a smaller market cap play that can move very, very quickly. This thing is, I don't know off the top of my head, is it around 150 maybe market cap position, but this thing was up in like the, 60s or 70s? This thing could very well cut its market cap position in half and be up to 75 before you know it, or 70, okay? So keep an eye on this one. This is a very volatile one. It's made a strong move up on high volume here, a lot of volatility, a lot of price wicks, but it is very possible we could see this thing appreciate towards 15. You can see there's a major area around 16 cents of resistance. We could see this thing hit 16 to 17 cents relatively quickly. Last chart. And then I'm turning it over to you guys. You better hit the thumbs up button for everybody tuning in. And then I'm turning it over to you guys to ask me any questions that you want. Well, not any questions, but let's keep it to TA. LRC is one that I took a position in just today, actually. Took a position in my retirement account, actually. So this is one that is in a falling wedge. Okay, this is a bullish pattern. This thing is coiling, getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and wants to break up. Okay, that is my view on it. This is one that you're going to want to keep an eye on. Now, the way to draw this if you want a technical target, And depending where it falls, breaks out. Okay, this isn't actually, this is not coincidental. Well, maybe it's coincidental, but it's funny how things line up. I mean, the technical target takes you right up towards this area of resistance I have drawn. So we have an area of resistance right around $1. Let's call this $1.35. Let's clean this up. We don't need all these numbers here. Bam. So this is $1.35. So the technical target takes us up right to this area. You can see that this thing is very volatile in nature. You can see that we moved here from 40 cents all the way up to like $4. We did a 10x in a matter of like a few weeks. This is a 10-day chart. So LRC is one you're going to want to keep an eye on. Now, as you can see, this was back in the earlier bull market. Now, one of the bullish things to see here is you can see we created a high here at 285. We went all the way up to like over $4 here. Okay, so this bull cycle has already created a new all-time high relative to our prior all-time high. That's very bullish to see. A lot of older projects like Dash, Zcash, XRP, they have not created new all-time highs relative to their old highs. So this is very good to see. So keep an eye on LRC. That's one that I, again, have established a position in. I'm expecting a break up. This thing has been consolidating for a while. I mean, look what it did here. You can see we sort of had a similar setup here. I mean, we had this sort of falling wedge. Didn't even see this until now. Falling wedge activity, and then we broke up. Okay, so it wouldn't surprise me to see this thing over $1 relatively quickly. Okay, so I think this is a really good question. So I'm actually done charting stuff. I'm going to take some questions, and then I'm going to get really aggravated and pissed off when I go out to the patio and see it's all messed up. I'm going to call the leasing office and leave a really angry message. And the next time I see, hopefully the lawnscaping people are out tomorrow. They haven't finished today, because I will find the person I was talking to, and there's going to be a confrontation. So, yeah, not letting that one go. Yeah, I'm sorry. If there's something, everybody has things that gets under their skin, right? Something that gets under my skin are people that don't have consideration for others, right? It's like you work hard in life, you do your thing, you mind your business. So for example, I go out there, I spend 40, 45 minutes cleaning off my patio, I make it look real nice, and this asshole comes by and blows mulch all over the patio. Like, I'm not exaggerating, all over the fucking patio. So if that thing is not looking pristine when I go out there, I'm going to go off. That's just how it's going to be. I don't turn green and my clothes don't rip off. I promise you that. But all right, so let's look at this question by Sean. So Sean, I appreciate the name there. You spell it a little bit differently. By the way, Sean, have you hit the thumbs up button? You say you had made good profits in the highs, just gone. Yes, my portfolio could have bought a fleet of Lambos, and now I'm at a fleet of Geometros, yes. I'm somewhat joking around, but the point of what I'm saying is my portfolio was worth a substantial amount, like a lot of people, and now it's substantially down. That's the point of what I'm saying, and I'm trying to joke around and find humor in it. But thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. But round tripped it back down. So what do you intend to do differently so that doesn't happen again? So this really is a good question. I'm glad you asked this, because it's very important to, if you feel that you've made a mistake with something, it's very important that you learn from it. If you're making mistakes in life and you're doing things that, I don't know what else to call them. If you view them as mistakes in life and you're not learning from it and doing something differently, you're just going to repeat the same mistakes. Like, you're going to do the same shit over and over again. It applies for anything in life. If you find yourself in a situation and you keep repeatedly doing the same thing, like, unless if something changes with you, like, nothing's going to change, right? So the crux of your question, why have I been using the word crux lately? I don't really know. That's just a word I've been using. You ever find yourself using a word that you just find to repeatedly use in sentences? I don't know. But I think the crux of your question is a really good one. So let me provide you my rationale for why I didn't sell. The reason I did not sell 1 penny of my investments that I had was because I had a foundational belief and view. Okay, let's go back. I basically had a view that from an investment standpoint that we had done a mass appreciation in value here. And although we corrected down to here, we still had one final leg to go, right? Because my view was, So my view was, Sean, that we had our first impulse wave move here, which was a wave 1 movement, a wave 2 correction movement, a wave 3 impulse, and a wave 4 correction. Now, given that I need to get a lot more better versed in Elliott wave analysis, which I'm on record as saying, yeah, you missed the beginning of the live stream, by the way, Kayleen. Now, given that I'm not a very well-versed Elliott wave technician, this speaks to the ignorance that I have when it comes to Elliott wave formations. That's just being honest with myself. So I'm on record as saying I really want to become an extremely proficient Elliott wave technician, and I'm not there yet, right? So I viewed the correction here as our final correction for a wave 4, right? We have a wave 1 movement up, a wave 2 correction, a wave 3, a wave 4 correction, and then a wave 5 final blow off top. Well, what I learned was that we really had an expanding flat correction, which is still holding true to this day, okay? So really, this is an ABC correction. This is our A, this is our A, our B, and our C, okay? So if you ask me what would I have done differently? I think, part of me says that my decision not to sell was founded on education, and I still feel convicted to that day. I still convicted to that notion to this day. But the other part of me says I should have been a more proficient technician within the charts to recognize just how overbought everything was. And I think when I do look back and I give myself an honest look on things, I really wish, I don't like to say that because I don't have regrets, but yeah, I'm very careful. Like, it's a personality thing. Like, I'm really careful with my word choices. It's just how I am generally in life. If I was a more proficient technician with the charts and I better deciphered the fact that we really were undergoing an ABC flat expanding correction within a broader Elliott wave structure, I would have scaled out a portion of my investment. I would have definitely scaled out at least a portion. Even though they were long-term investments, I would have scaled out at least a portion if this had been in my mind a possibility to play out, which it was not. Okay? So I think that's what I would do differently. Now, moving forward, okay, so you're saying what would I intend to do differently moving forward? Well, I am fully anticipating this final move up to come, okay? So what I will be doing differently this time than I was doing last time, I'm going to be scaling out of my investments when we do make our next parabolic move. And again, my personal view is I still anticipate a large move coming going into 2023. I expect mass appreciation in price in 2023. So as we are moving up, what I am going to do differently is I am going to be selling out. I mean, I'm going to be scaling out of my investments. And I would encourage everyone here to spend time thinking price levels and price appreciation points that you do want to scale out. No one here, I want to make a guarantee actually. No one here listening, whether you're live or you're watching recorded, no one here is going to be able to call the top. No one's going to call a perfect top. No one can call a perfect bottom or a perfect top, okay? The smartest thing you can do is recognize that if you feel like things are becoming very overvalued and you see a substantial correction coming down the pipeline, start scaling out now. So excuse me, that's what I would do differently, Sean. That's what I would do differently. But it definitely humbled me. I mean, it really is when you can look back on things and you can really see your portfolio go from a substantial amount of money down to a much less substantial amount of money. It humbles you, and it also keeps you grounded and makes you realize what you value in life. Like, I did not lose sleep over it. Like, I can thankfully say I did not lose sleep over that. But it was a learning experience, and it's something that had I been a better technician at reading this Elliott wave structure, I definitely would have scaled out at least a portion of my position, such that if this scenario played out, I would have been better positioned today. And if it had not played out, I could have gotten back into the market, maybe, and lost a little bit of ground, but still played the risk a little bit better. It's a really good question. Okay, so another follow-up question. Yeah, I do expect new all-time highs. What is your plan if we begin to reject at retracement levels? If we begin to reject at retracement levels, I'm not selling. Because, again, these are investments, and I have a long-term investment thesis that the market overall is going to expand massively in value. So let's just say for the moment, okay, and again, I've tried to place emphasis on the fact that 21 independent charts and data science models that I've looked at have said this area in here is a generational buy opportunity. I've tried to place emphasis on that versus this point here being an exact bottom. I recognize that I could be wrong and we could go lower in price, okay? But what would I do if we retrace it, if we begin to go lower? I don't anticipate us. I do feel the bottom is in, and I do feel we're going to massively appreciate in value. But if I'm wrong, which I'm very open to, been wrong plenty of times before, if I'm wrong and we go lower towards 16 or 15,000, what would I do? Well, number one, I'm not selling a fucking thing, because I think that would be the dumbest thing you could do. I think that'd be so fucking dumb if you sold. Unless you think we're going to zero, that's the only reason you would sell. It would be, in my opinion, it would be stupid to sell, like really stupid. The only thing I would be doing is figuring out how much more capital I can put into the market. Because if we go lower than my expectation, I'm going to be putting more fucking capital into the market. That's what I would be doing. Because again, as a long-term investor, knowing that whether it's 2023 or 2024 or 2025 or 2026, and this thing takes longer than I think, we are, in my opinion, going massively higher in price. I do not lose perspective based on the short-term price action of the longer-term investment thesis. This is literally, in my opinion, investing in the internet on steroids before it got global and really recognizable, okay? Before everything got user-friendly and people used the internet and used email and did all this stuff, this is getting invested in that technology on steroids, but before it got to that point. We are in such an early phase here. So whether I buy Bitcoin at 19,000, 18, 17, 16, 15, or 23,000, I could give two fucks less, because I know in the long term that's going to massively increase in value, in my opinion. So great questions, though. Great questions. And I don't view, by the way, Sean, I appreciate what you're saying. I do not view your comments one bit as being a critic. I think the questions you're asking are founded based on education and good thought process. So I appreciate your questions. So keep it coming. Keep it coming. Like, I appreciate questions like that. And I like being challenged on thought-provoking questions. I don't want easy questions all the time. Like, ask me questions that you would perceive as hard, or things you've been challenged with yourself. So with that being said, I'm going to go out, check out the porch. You know what? At this point, I'm not even going to get pissed off. I'm just going to laugh, clean it off, do what I need to do. I'm going to stick some salmon on the air fryer, get the asparagus going, and have myself a good evening. So for everybody, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. This was just an ad hoc live stream. But as always, I appreciate to spread the awareness and carry the education forward, and I hope you do too. So thanks for tuning in, guys. All right?